Welcome, everyone. This is Austin here with Flashpoint TV show on our new day and time, along with my beautiful co-host, Miss Mandy Robinson here. It is Thursday, June 16th. Mandy, are you okay with this adjustment on the new time? And
I am actually. It's quite exciting. It's fitting in with my my agenda perfectly because 2 Fridays we're going to be out for next month. So, and it's just different, but I like this. It also frees up the weekend for us, right?
Absolutely. So I want to give a big hello to everybody that's live. I'd love for you to just type in hello. Hello. Let us know you're there. I want to welcome you in on today's show. It's a special show for me for a lot of reasons. We have the new day and time. We have not only just a special guest for today, but somebody who I'm forming a relationship with, which I'm real excited for you to learn about him. We're going to bring him on in a minute. But type in the word hello. Let's just get started with the basics.
Hello.
Hello.
Aloha.
Aloha or aloha or whatever is.
Bienvenue. Willkommen.
What's the Hawaiian? Well, aloha.
Aloha. Aloha. Yeah.
What French?
French. Bon après-midi.
Beautiful French. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Willkommen. Nei hai is Cantonese. Trying to think of some others. Buongiorno, Italian.
Buongiorno. Okay. So if you have a special greeting, you could type that in the chat. We'll do the decoding later. But Mandy, I'm excited. This is Flashpoint. This is manifesting the moment of your big breakthrough.
Yes.
That moment of clarity and validation when all the chaos, sometimes all the craziness that you're going through makes sense. And we can manifest that. We can consciously create. Mandy, the word I came up with, or I was thinking about today, was conscious intentionality. I was playing conscious intentionality. So
yeah.
we'll marinate.
Yeah.
Let's kick off the show as we normally do, because this opening that we do is really for us as it is for you, because we want you to settle into the show. We want to frame the show right, and we want to set it up because we want you to get something here today. So, Mandy, will you help me kick the show off?
Absolutely, I will. Let's start off with the hourglass. Mandy's favorite part of the show. Oh, gosh. I'm sitting here sweating just for the viewers' benefit. A tornado is about to hit, so I may be here, I may not. But anyway, let's deal with the hourglass, because that whatever's happening out there is in the future. So we have the future in the top glass there. We have the middle in the present, and then we have the past in the bottom. And the whole purpose of the hourglass is that it's showing us that life is always unfolding. So whatever's in the future.
Oh, what happened?
Still here.
That's a magic. We'll show you how we did that later. Go ahead, Mandy.
Oh gosh, here we go. So whatever's in the future is in the top, and it's yet to be discovered. It's where, as they say in the Japanese culture, it's what we can achieve in life, limited only by the reach of our imagination. So I really love that there. Now, as we come into the future, the future then happens in the present moment. And the present moment is where we decide to be, to do, to breathe, and to open our mind so that we can make changes and affect our future going forward, right? So we're always in the present moment. We're always in the present moment. The future becomes the present moment. The present moment then becomes the past. And it's just this constant revolution of life unfolding. So everything in the past is what we've come to know about ourselves and what we've lived through and our experiences. This is an evolution. It is constantly revolving from the future to the past, but always it happens. Everything happens in the present moment, which is right in the middle.
Mandy, as we often do, we love creating magic in the moment.
We do.
I have a magical thing that just happened, and it's going to add another beautiful metaphor, because this hourglass, we do it every week, and every week it speaks. And if we just go, oh, I've seen that before, we miss it. So let's look, here's what just came up for me, right?
Inspired.
The sand is pouring out.
Okay.
As my hand tilts, I can direct where the sand goes in the bottom of the glass. Right?
Oh, yes, I get your point.
So Austin, what are you talking about? I can't stop the sand. Well, I could in this case, but if I keep it this way, I can't stop it. But I can sort of direct it with my intentionality of my hand. So just like life, we can't stop time. But when we bring conscious intentionality to the unfolding, we can impact the way it sits. And so it is with life.
You got it.
We got another thing that we can share. How about that?
That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing, actually. So that's the hourglass. And the next one is the Edison light bulb. I'm going to let you take the Edison light bulb.
Thank you, Manny. This is, again, this is just as much for us because I need to be reminded. I don't know about you, but when things don't go right, we can get tied up into some emotions, can't we? And I just remind myself of Thomas Edison, and I'm fortunate that I lived like less than 2 hours from the very location that this light bulb was perfected. There was many iterations, 10,000 to be exact. And when Thomas Edison was asked, how did it feel to fail 10,000 times, to go through 10,000 times, it didn't work. And regardless of the number, 1,000, 10,000, whatever the number is, it was a big number. He said, I did not fail. I successfully created 10,000 ways in which the light bulb
different ways. I think that is so important to say different ways, because if we try one way and it doesn't work, then we have to try something different to finally reach success. So there's always options. There's always options.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to be writing about Thomas Edison in the book because he had a flashpoint moment that led, and it came in an unexpected way, in common hours, when he least expected it. Boom.
Yeah, boom.
He had a flicker flash, and next thing you know, here we are. You know, so this is a beautiful metaphor to think about and remind yourself of as we venture through.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm here. I'm excited that you're here with us right now, and I want you to get something from this. Maybe you need to be reminded to be present. Maybe you're like, man, things haven't been going right, and I'm starting to feel it. It matters. Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going. Yep. So the final part of the routine is that good old little cowbell. What's the cowbell about? Special moments.
Cowbell is a fun way to highlight a moment, a share. We already got some shares coming in.
Awesome.
Jenna's here, Sharon. Yes,
Jenna,
you can direct it to what you want. So we like to highlight that and have some fun with it. And we can use the light bulb too. If there's a light bulb moment, you can type in the word light, or how about this? Just type in the word flash, and then I'll turn the light bulb on. If you have a flash when you're listening to this, type it in for those of you that are listening live, and I will share. I will grab the light bulb so we can just highlight that moment. So that's where we, see, Ivy's already testing us. Thank you, Ivy. Glad you're here. So Ivy's already testing us, so we'll put the flash on. There you go.
Yay, Ivy. Woo!
All right, this is great. I'm excited. This is going to be a fantastic show. Mandy, I'm going to do something a little different here.
Okay.
Normally I'll introduce and bring the guest on, but what I want to do now, I'm actually going to bring him on and just let the world see him. And then I'm going to tell you about him because I want you to see his face and you're going to love this. Are you ready?
Amazing. Yes, we're ready. Bring him on.
All right. Love it. Oh, let's do this. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Hola.
Gordon,
Hola.
I feel like this is
Bon après-midi, monsieur. Ça va?
Comme ci, comme ça.
Comme ci, comme ça.
Merci.
Bien.
I'll see you later.
De rien. Bye, Austin. We've got the show.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, I feel like this has been a long time coming. Gordon and I have been kind of sidelined. We've seen each other. We've learned about each other through social media. We've connected, and most recently we've connected at a deeper level. And there's some great things brewing here with his platform and his show. But I do want to talk a little bit about what he's doing, and I think it's interesting. I think his bio doesn't really do him justice, so I'm gonna I'm going to go through the bio and then I'm going to maybe share some what I think. But he's already become a best-selling author. He's a serial entrepreneur, the founder and CEO of Jewil International. Gordon, am I saying that right?
That's right, Jewil. That's right.
Jewil, yep. A keynote speaker. He's been on many platforms. Teaches. I love this, Mandy, and we'll let you in on this, Mandy, because you're here.
I can always leave.
No.
Au revoir, monsieur.
No.
So he entrepreneurial men to navigate mental awareness and health in a world of judgment and toxic masculinity. That's like a ding ding. I mean, that hits a bell in today's world.
Repeat what you just said. I think that's worth repeating.
Yeah. So he focuses on entrepreneurial men to help them navigate mental awareness and health in a world of judgment and toxic masculinity. Let that sink in. That's pretty deep. And he's worked with the big names, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, which helped him hone his own specialization in what he does. And that's where I'll jump in and say, all that sounds great, but it's where he comes from. I always say this, where you're coming from is more important than where you're going to. And Gordon really embodies this because he just comes from the right place. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Type it in. If you know what I'm talking about, type that in. Type in the word heart. You know that someone's coming from the right place because you can feel it. You don't have to think about it. You just feel it. And that's what I would say about Gordon and what he does. So Gordon, Mandy, is there anything you want to say before we jump in and let the man speak here?
Let the man speak. Well, if Gordon and I get into French, we can have our own conversation.
Only
my friend.
Petite.
Un petit. D'après. So I'm just absolutely thrilled. You and I have become really good friends, and it is absolutely awesome. And this last part about if I'm saying this right, entrepreneurial men to help navigate mental health and judgment in a world of toxic male mentality. Did I get that right?
Masculinity, yeah.
Masculinity. I was toxic masculinity. Okay. So this actually hits home for me because it's been a long time since I came across this. If we go back about 15 years when I was president of one of the clubs in Toastmasters, we had two gentlemen in that scenario. And as you know, my platform is violence and sexual abuse against women. So I had these two men approach me afterwards, one of the meetings, and ask me if I've ever spoken on behalf of a man being the victim in an abusive relationship. And that set me off on a trajectory. And I've since done several speeches on behalf of the men. So this, I don't know, this is just sitting really, really well with me. And I'm just happy that you're the one that's doing this, because you have the heart, you have the soul, you have the passion, and I've got goosebumps, and you have the love. You have the love for the human spirit.
Yeah.
Namaste. I love you.
And so we got a surprise for you, and we are going to let you talk. We didn't bring you on here just to look at you.
Just to listen to it.
I got to say
he
this.
has been talking. He's been speaking French.
But I got to say
this,
Austin. Mandy, I got to say this, that you've been married for 30 years?
Just over 30 years, yeah. Same long-suffering woman.
And he's got three sons.
3 teenage sons, yeah.
So, I mean, if that doesn't speak to your heart, I don't know what does. So, Gordon, I want you to say hello. We do have a surprise for you before we get headlong into the interview, but I want to give you a warm welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Welcome.
It's an honor to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity. Two of my favorite people, and yes, Mandy reached out to me after one of our last interviews, or when I was on a podcast with you, and I was having a really bad day, and she said, "Hey, I was inspired from your interview with Austin. Can I share the poem I wrote?" And she went through it, and by the time she finished, she goes, she's like, "Is that did you hear that, and do you understand?" And I didn't say anything because I couldn't.
He was silent.
I was crying. And she goes, "Yep, that had the effect I wanted. Great, have a good day." And away she went. She said, "I've got a special thing for you, by the way." She said, "It'll come in a few weeks." And I'm like, okay, I wasn't sure what that meant. And, a couple weeks later, her book showed up. This book showed up with the poem she wrote for me in the book. I'm like, how the hell did you do that inside of 2 weeks? And she goes, "Oh, that's magic. magic that she does. So, and that, that really touched me in a deep way, that she wrote it at all. But that, she included it, and it inspired something that deep that came from what we had done.
God
so
bless
I really
you for
appreciate
remembering that.
Oh, I'll never forget that. And Austin, I've seen, you're right, we've sort of been ships crossing in different circles and in different places. And but you know what? Papa's timing is exactly what it's supposed to be. So we connected when we were both in the right place for that to show up and do its thing. So really, really appreciate you. I love you, and your brother. And the conscious intentionality, I love that. Something I got from John Maxwell years ago was living intentionally. When I autographed my books, live, love, laugh, and grow abundantly with intention, because we're going to grow on some levels organically. But if you want to really do personal development at a high level, you have to be intentional about the way you live. It's not even the decisions we make, whether we like it or not, we're the sum total of all the decisions and choices we've made in our whole life up to this point.
Yes.
Right. Good, bad, and otherwise. And to own that, right. To say, no, it's not them or that, or this was the reason. No. I'm where I am because of choices I've made.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I love that conscious intentionality. And I love that idea with the hourglass. I was thinking a similar thing as you were moving it around. I'm going, yep. As it's coming out, you can direct it in some respects, right? Control is an illusion. Anybody that has children knows very quickly control is an illusion.
Yes.
Outside of what I think and what I do. And I want to say that again because I think it's important, and it goes to key. So the only thing we have control of is what we think and what we do, right? So can I affect change of people around me? In some ways, yes, by responding different. Right. If
Absolutely.
I change how I think and how I behave, it may change people around me, but I can't control them. So I really love that concept. The Edison light bulb, to Mandy's point about different, failure only comes when you quit.
That's right.
So it's not there weren't 10,000 failures. He kept trying, right? He was still in the game, right? So it was a different way. There was no failure. He figured it out eventually, right? He didn't stop trying. And I think sometimes we abdicate our responsibility for the fact that we have power to change what's happening in our lives, right? I have a friend recently who said, Gord, I can't. He was complaining about his work, and I said, you know what? Change it. And he goes, I can't. And I said, why? He said, well, I've got bills. And I said, no offense. I love you. That's weak. Like, really, come on. You're not a tree, right? Jim Rohn used to say, you're not a tree, move.
Yeah.
So believe in yourself enough to find something better. And if you can't find something better, create it on your own. Like, figure it out. We have the power to do that, and we don't use it. So I love that. And then the whole concept of just keep swimming, right? Just keep trying, just keep swimming, right? Just stay in the game. Don't stop. And so, a lot of the concepts that I think we get, I'm Robbins Madonna certified in a half a dozen modalities through Tony Robbins' schools. So certified coach, but I'm also certified to teach Napoleon Hill. So all of those concepts and a lot of that stuff with Napoleon Hill, if you boil it down, is about understanding how our own mind works.
Yes.
And then mastering control of our own mind and our own emotion. Okay. So I say to my sons all the time, who is the scarier villain? The one that screams and yells and waves his arms, or the one that's very quiet, doesn't say anything, and tips his head and weirdly smiles at you, but hasn't said anything. And they're like, yeah, that's the one that scares the crap out of me. And I'm like, why? Because I don't know what they're thinking. They've got ultimate control, mastery of their emotion. So that, right. So and I have it written on my bedroom wall. My wife freaked out, but it's up there. I painted the wall in our bedroom 10 feet wide, floor to ceiling, with clear chalkboard paint. So I just walk up to it and with a piece of chalk and write on it. Right. But it says stimulus, pause, respond. Okay. And the power is in the pause. The power is in the ability to be able to stop. The powers and the ability to be able to have stimulation hit you in any situation, or something said or something's done or whatever. We have a visceral reaction to that. Thank you. And a lot of times we, as humans, we have the ability to pause. No other creature has the ability to do that. If I step on a cat's tail, I get an instant reaction, right? Not a response, it's a reaction. And as humans, we tend to react. I'm a very emotional guy. So when stuff happens, when my kids do silly things or say dumb, right, I have a visceral reaction to that. And I have to hold on to it. I'm learning to hold on to that and go, no, wait. Give it a second before you say anything or do anything, because you may not have all the information. Maybe you don't, right, take the emotion out of it. Hold on for a second. And sometimes it's a second, and sometimes it's a few minutes, and sometimes absolutely. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. But the point is, and sometimes I don't need to respond. Once I give it a little bit of thought for a second, there's nothing to respond to. Right. So I think as humans, we do a thing where we take the pause out and we viscerally react, and it causes problems because we blow up relationships. We inflame situations. We hurt people around us because we just sort of lash out in the moment. And so being able to have the emotional intelligence to be able to hold on to that and learn how that works. I think the difference between no matter what sport, no matter what business organization, no matter absolutely sometimes. Thank you, Jenna. Sometimes the people that anybody could name, that you guys could name, that I know, or that I could name and you would know in business or sport or whatever, the difference between those people and everybody else in the pro league or anybody else in business, the reason we know them is because they've understood how their mind works. And they've mastered control of their mind and their emotion. So I use LeBron James. Everybody seems to know who he is. Yep, basketball. Yeah, even if you don't follow basketball, everybody seems to know who he is, right? Tiger Woods. Everybody knows who that is. But at the end of a game, end of game 7 in a final series, and there's no time left on the clock, and he gets fouled. He gets 3 shots, right? And absolutely, Jenna. He gets 3 shots and he knows they're down by 2 points. If he misses even one of those shots, they don't win the series. And most NBA players will implode on themselves, not because they don't understand the mechanics of a free throw, but because the situation eclipses them and they can't control their emotion. And so they screw it up because they don't have that control. And LeBron doesn't. He steps up to the free throw and boom, 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 and everybody goes, oh, he's amazing. No, he's playing hoops in the backyard with his kids. He's in practice. Like, there's no emotional attachment. And if we can learn to take the emotion out of it, or control the emotion and control what we're thinking, control our own mind. It's not Pinky in the Brain, right? It's not world domination. And it's a full-time job for most of us to learn and master control of our own mind and our own emotion. I don't have any interest or time to be able to do that for you guys. Right. So, or anybody else. Right. So, and I don't want to. So, the real quick skinny on me in terms of where some of that came from was.
Well, before you jump in, I know Mandy may have some stuff loaded up here, and we want to get into your story too, because you're instantly, this is your heart. You instantly want to pour out and teach. But we also want, you're here. We want to share a little bit about your story. And Mandy has a surprise for you. But Mandy, I'm going to turn it over to you and see what you want to do from here. How's that?
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's good. It's just so refreshing and beautiful to hear everything you've just said. I've got it all down, because you haven't been on my live for poetry yet. But basically, everything you've just said is how I end every live. Not reacting to life, but responding after we've paused and everything. So the connection between us gets stronger and deeper. So I do have this surprise for you. I hope you're feeling grounded. You've already hinted at it, okay, but I wanted to be able to read that poem to you with you sitting in front of me. Are you ready?
I didn't bring tissue down with me.
Don't worry about it. Your beard will collect the tears.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. A place beyond the silence. there's a place beyond the silence that stills the night and calms the storm, that steps lightly, permeating your essence. This void that empties and spills pain into the great divide, the vast unknown. Within this pure illumination of divinity's light, hope takes your heart in its hands. It caresses the mighty chambers where lifeblood has surged incessantly for eons of time, that's pounded the walls with courage and fortitude. This place that stills the night beyond the silence, kissed the soul of life within, caresses your heart and bathes you, surrounds you, craves that you trust and allow. Give in to its calling, holds you as the axis of the earth is held. Hope has sunk its pedestals into your core. The gale subsides. The rain peters out. The lightning abates. The raging foe that defied you to give in is vanquished into non-existent eternity. The flames of pain are a far distant, dying ember where even its memory is an illusion. Come, my child, sit a while. Feel the soothing balm of hope blanketing your heart so softly, as if nestled among the feathers of eider down. Even the stark, storm-battered, jagged monsters rising from the bowels of the earth to touch the sky, even the mighty stoic ocean cliffs, standing staunchly in frigid temperatures, are unable to penetrate the down of divinity. Do you feel the light of the Great Spirit? Are you magnetized in the warmth of his touch? Wherein lies the refinement of your soul? Love pervades each kiss, each touch, each breath upon your anguish. Love is the embodiment of the Great Spirit. You are one with the greatest and most powerful divinity that brings you now to his presence. Fear cannot exist where love knows none. My child, surrender your soul to that from whence you came. Take hold, firm hold of the hand of hope, the pillar of love. Come, sit a while, bathe, absorb, drift in the echoes of the pure light and love surrounding you now. There's a place beyond the silence that stills the night and calms the storm. I see you. I feel your presence. And now you are here. You are loved. My dedication to your heart, my brother. I love you.
Thank you so much. I love you. It impacts every time I hear it. Or read it myself. It takes me back to that spot.
I knew it would. I knew it would. but I hope it brings you comfort at the same time.
It does. It absolutely does.
Thank you.
It's like a word hug.
Yes. Thank you for allowing me to do that for you. And Austin, thank you for allowing me to do that too.
Beautiful. I'm almost speechless.
Thank you so much.
Place beyond the silence. Page 92 in the book Catalyst Poetry.
Yes.
So there's the book. All right, Gordon, let's get, I mean, now you're probably like, wow, but let's dive in, give us a little history so we can understand where you came from.
Okay. I came from my mom originally.
Good thing.
It's 333. Sorry, I distract myself. Basically what happened, I was the Energizer Bunny for 30 years. And while I was doing a high level of personal development, Zig Ziglar had told, was blessed to run into him and Grant Cardone years and years and years ago. And something that Zig had taught us, we needed to go to, he said, to be successful, you need to do 3 things. One was to go to 2 business conferences a year. One was to read 4 to 6 books a month. And one was to journal every day. And he made me commit to him that I would write in my journals every day. And which is a monumental thing when you consider I have 5. There's a personal, a business, a general, a gratitude, and a goals. And he gave me some ways to be able to accomplish that, because I said to him, I don't know if I don't want to commit to that and not be able to do it. So, but the concept of, he taught me early to plug in, and he plugged us into sort of the thought leaders of the time. So Jim Rohn was already gone, but through books and audio and whatnot, video, he was mentored us in terms of journaling and in terms of life. He plugged us into the John Maxwell and Les Brown and Tony Robbins and all these iconic sort of Mount Rushmore thought leaders of the day. And so becoming a student of life and a student of how things work. I think a lot of times we can't win the game without understanding how the rules work. And a lot of us don't understand why we can't live abundantly, right? Papa wants us to live abundantly. And a lot of times we can't or don't, not because we can't, but because we're not aware. So I refer to mental awareness because I think that's an umbrella that incorporates mental health, mental illness, and then a whole bunch of other things. And so, but for 30 years, I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And I was taught growing up and in church that it was selfish to look after yourself first. Everybody else came before you. So that set a paradigm. And so everybody came before Gord, and everybody, complete strangers came before Gord. So essentially, long story short, it may already be too late, but anyway, in autumn of 2015, my body said, hey, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. And so I was bedridden for 2 years. And in the middle of all of that, when you take an Energizer Bunny and force them into a space where they can't move, it gets dark in a hurry. And so there was a suicide attempt in the middle of all that. And I look back at it now and go, yep, that was Papa gifting me perspective I needed. I didn't have. And that's a real severe way to do it. But I tend to live my life. And I have a talk, Mandy would appreciate, called 2x4 and a Rhinoceros. Because I tend to be a 2x4 learner, right? To get my attention, you have to really hit me hard. And then the rhinoceros part is that group of rhinoceros. So gaggle of geese, murder of crows, right, that kind of thing. A group of rhinoceros are called a crash. And I was trying to find out why. Well, apparently they can run 40 miles an hour, which is pretty heavy. That's pretty quick for a 2-ton animal. The problem is they can only see about 20 feet. Consequently, they spend their whole life slamming into stuff, which is why they have 3-inch thick skin and a great big horn on their forehead so that it protects them. So, but that's how I've lived my life, kind of a bull in a china shop, right? When it came to sales, if 100 calls didn't do it, I would make 200 calls. And if that didn't do it, I would make 500 calls. And if that didn't do it, I would make 1,000. That's just who I was. And so, but when you squish it in, Papa needed to give me that perspective. Hey, you know what? There's another way to do this. And he wanted my attention. And so he got it.
And by the way, I just want to let people know, you when he says Papa, you're referring to God.
God.
I am.
Great Spirit.
Absolutely. And however you identify, right? And at this point in my life, which would be sacrilege when I was growing up, it doesn't matter to me how you identify that higher power. So it's higher power, it's universe, it's infinite
Source.
Intelligence. Matter of fact, it's source, it's
Okay.
Buddha, Mohammed, however you identify that source, right? Is we all kind of get the point that there's something bigger than us, right? So and I appreciate you pointing that out. And I call him Papa because of my relationship with him. And so, you know, he showed up in my bathroom while I was in the process of doing what I was doing to give my soul back to him. And he showed up and was talking to me as audibly as you are, and telling me, hey, this is not what I want you to do. And this is not the legacy that you want to leave. And the point is, he saved my life that day. And so,
do you have a mark? Do you have a symbol, right?
I do. Yep.
On the wrist. There it is.
Yeah, that's right. It's a semicolon.
Yeah.
If I can get my directional on the thing. I'm heart-centric, so I use the heart instead of the black dot. But a semicolon is an international sign for suicide survivor. And so when we write, authors, when we write, you get to the end of a sentence and you put a period. And then you go, wait, no, I've got some more to say. So you put a semicolon and continue to write.
Yeah.
So, right, that's why they use it as the sign for that.
Yeah.
The gentleman that put it on my wrist, he's done thousands of them to raise money for suicide prevention. And he said to me, that's the biggest one I've ever done, first of all. And secondly, why is it on your wrist? And I said, because partly for that, absolutely. And partly because when I shake hands with people, if they know what a semicolon is, instantly they know it's a safe zone, no judgment. They can open up and talk. And that was a few years ago. And just recently, I was talking to him about some new body art I want. And he said, by the way, is that working that way? And I said, absolutely it is. I was in Starbucks not long ago paying for my drink with my debit card, and the girl behind the counter held out the machine. And I reached up to tap my card, and my sleeve must have come up just enough, and she could see it. And her eyes instantly filled up with tears. She didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. She knew what that was. And instantly, Papa connected our hearts, right? Deeply, deeply. Her eyes filled up, and then she pulled her ear forward, and she had a real tiny little semicolon tattooed behind her ear. So in that instant, I knew a little bit of her journey and where she's been, or a little bit of it, and vice versa. And that happens all the time. And I think the more often we can do that, Papa puts us in places where, you know what, these people needed to hear or to see or to be impacted that way in that moment.
So I want to ask, I just want to give Gordon some love here. He's bearing his soul here. What happened to him? So please type in the chat something. If you're moved, I just want you to engage, because this is we're hearing about Gordon's story, but we're all on this road together. You understand? So we do this to reach people, not to be, there's a show here, but this is to reach you wherever you are.
Absolutely.
So Gordon, I want to just honor you for sharing this, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you know what? I think the more often we can, especially as guys, because we were taught, don't look weak, don't cry, don't show emotion. And we hold that dis-ease in our body, and it makes us sick, right? We push it down, we hold it inside. And so it's the ability to, thank you, Jenna. The ability to be able to be vulnerable and transparent as a guy is, and as women too, but I think a lot of times women seem to be more in touch with that, right? I think I've shared with you, thank you, Robert. I love you, buddy. I miss you. I was with a buddy. He does our videography at our Mondays when we're doing it live.
Hey, so, Robert, welcome. Glad you're here.
Yeah, good to see you, Robert.
Absolutely. I was in a restaurant with a friend, and he didn't believe me that women were more in touch than men. And I was like, okay, watch. And I literally stood up in the restaurant, walked over to 3 different women and went, hey, I'm doing a quick survey. How are you doing? And they told me, the one woman told me she'd been diagnosed with cancer 3 weeks before. Wow. And I walked back to my friend, and he's like, I'm shocked that woman told you something so personal to a complete stranger. And I'm like, but they're connected to that. They understand. And I think once there is a strength in being able to, there's a strength in being able to share that load, right? It's really difficult when we try and do it by ourselves. But once we share it, and we have the ability to step through, and I want to touch just real quick on fear, because fear is not real. Fear is a construct that we develop inside our bodies, right? Danger is real. but fear is not real. I jumped out of a perfectly good airplane that was going to land anyway, 288 times. And the last 2 were halo jumps from 43,000 feet. I love doing that stuff. But the point is, when they do studies, they'll put heart monitors on people that are going to do that day, that are going to skydive. Mm-hmm. And so while they're doing the in-class part in the morning, their heart rate's going up a little bit as they think about what's going to happen. And then they put their flight suits on if they're going to wear one. They go out and their heart rates continue to go up. They go out in the tarmac, their heart goes up. They get in the plane, their heart goes up. And as the plane goes up, so does their heart rate. The oddest thing happens when they step out of the plane, because you would think that's where your heart would skyrocket, and it doesn't. It drops. Why? Because we seem to do a thing, and to your point with your hourglass, is that we rob ourselves of the gift of being in the moment because we're stress and anxiety and whatever about our past, or stress and anxiety or whatever about our future. And it robs us of the gift. That's why it's called the present. It's a gift, right? And we stop, and people go, I'm not sure that's true. And I'm like, have you ever been married? And they go, yeah. Do you remember the day? It's a kind of a monumental thing. Do you remember it? Nope. I had to watch the video. Exactly. Why? Because there's so much distraction going on. We watch the video and go, damn, did I do that? I don't remember doing that with that person. That, like, you're so distracted and overwhelmed by the situation. You don't even remember being in that moment. And so being able to slow it down and go, you know what? And I've done this with interviews and virtual coffees with people. When I think I've shared that with the two of you, but the ability to be able to take everything else out, right? There's conversations we have with people where we go, yep, I'm good. I understand. It was a good conversation. And then there's conversations you leave where you go, wow, I have no idea why that was so impactful. But I think what happened was we tuned everything else out. And there was right at the moment, there's nothing in my life except Flashpoint, Austin, Mandy, the audience, and being in this moment now. I'm not worried about thinking about morning. I'm not thinking about what I got to do later. I'm dialed right in, and there's nothing else in my world right this second.
So I'm going to jump in real quick because I got a text message from Marlon Mueller.
Oh.
So Marlon's on YouTube, and he said he can't chat, but tell Gordon, great job. So I wanted to
thank you so much. I loved listening to him last night. He was awesome.
Great, right? And we're going to have him on again. So Gordon, you are pouring your heart out. I want to give people a way to connect with you and just closing thoughts, because I know Mandy has a lot to share about today, and we got a couple things to get to. But please, let's how can people connect with you?
Okay, so the easiest way right at the moment, I'm trying to find sponsorship for my radio show, TV show, and podcast. That'll go to more than 250 platforms globally. If you want to participate, just reach out to me. But the easiest way is Jewil, so JEWIL.coaching@gmail.com. And Jewil is an acronym. So Jandon is my wife and my company. So JAN from her name is Janessa, and DON from my name, Gordon. So Jandon is our company. But empowerment with intention, life coaching. So Jewil, right?
Jewil, can we do jewil.coaching@gmail.com?
Yep. JEWIL.coaching@gmail.com.
I'm going to put that in the chat, and I'm going to make sure people get that.
That's the easiest way.
So people can email you and connect with you, and
absolutely
make sure, because I know people are going to be wanting to connect with you after this and what you shared. So
happy to do it. So I'm trying to put people into a group coach. I do group coach. I do one-on-one coach.
You are?
Sorry?
You are.
I am.
You are doing it. And by the way, I just want to share this. So Gordon's platform is going to go out to 250 platforms.
Right.
What he's doing
globally
with based conversation that you heard today expanded, and like they're expecting well over 3,000 hits. He's looking for sponsorship. So this is a great opportunity. This isn't somebody who showed up yesterday. You heard this talk. This is somebody who's lived it, been on the brink, had the dark moment of the soul, has the semicolon, and this is somebody you definitely can align with moving forward with this platform. I can assure you that. So I just want to point that out.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So Mandy,
Yes, you're at 47. Do you want me to do the recap?
I would love for you to do the recap. We'll keep Gordon on for this because this was most. And then we have a couple announcements about the next Flashpoint documentary. We may have time for another poem. I promised everybody this poem, so I want to. That's not going to be a long poem. But Mandy, yes, let's get to this beautiful recap and what happened today. So if you're just joining, it's not too late. You're going to hear some of the highlights right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Austin. Thank you. So we started off with the hourglass. We're talking about Austin's new word, conscientious intentionality. Life is always unfolding, and we always have to be directional in the present. The light bulb was Edison's 10,000 ways of not failing, but succeeding 10,000 different ways to success. So there's always options. Then we had the cowbell moment. Austin gave the bio. Gordon mentioned the book, Live, Laugh, Love, Grow Abundantly with Intention. He spoke about control is an illusion outside of what we can think and do. Control, think and do. We can't control others. We respond differently to life. And I love the fact that you said, keep swimming, believe in yourself, keep swimming, stay in the game. That is so important. And that's also a Japanese philosophy. I think Gary Bansu or something like that. It's never quit, never give up. Yeah. You've been through with all the big gurus, Robbins, Cardone, you met Zig Ziglar. And you have this, you help people to understand that we have to master control of our mind and emotion. We have to use emotional intelligence. And a lot of people lack EI today. That's definite. I loved your phrase, stimulus, pause, respond. Mm-hmm. We all have the power to step back, stop, take a deep breath and pause to respond to life. As you said, most people react viscerally to life. They don't respond. And this is something I always taught my children. Gather all the information, all the facts before you respond to anything, because otherwise we're lashing out and we're hurting people. I read you the poem, which was my great honor to do. You were an Energizer bunny for years, and you bumped into Zig, you with Cardone as well, and the 333. You go to two business conferences a year, read 4 to 6 books a month, and journal daily. And you said you have 5 different journals. I didn't write the titles, but they were all pertinent. Multiple journaling on different levels. You were learned student of life on how the rules work through Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, Les Brown. And then you had this church paradigm, which so many people have, which as women, we were raised this way. We look after everybody else before ourselves. And that's why so many women have burnout. I know this firsthand. 2015 was a marked point for you. Because you'd been this Energizer bunny, you became bedridden for 2 years, and you even attempted suicide. And your understanding from this was the flashpoint moment when Source, God Energy, Papa as you call him, gave you the gift of a different perspective. And I've got goosebumps. It was like he hit you with a 2x4. Hit you hard to get your attention. And when a 2x4 is, I've been hit by a 2x4, so I know how that feels. And I'm not joking. That was my husband. That was husband hitting me. So that 2x4 comes to you and hits you, boom, and it comes from nowhere. And this is why it's likened to a rhino, because a rhino can only see 20 feet in front of it. And when it hits, it crashes into everything. 2 tons of heavy motion just crashing and smashing into everything. It likened you to being a bull in a china shop, and you needed to get this new perspective. So Source, God Energy, felt that there was something bigger for you. There was this legacy that you would be leaving the world. And this is how you came to have the international sign for being a survivor of suicide, which is the heart. And the reason I said it is because where it's placed is over the main artery, which pumps blood through the heart, which just hits me right there. And then the semicolon part which is the ability to carry on the conversation like I do in writing. As you know, I'm a legacy ghostwriter. So this sign for you is so powerful, being on the wrist there, because when you shake hands with somebody, I can see it. Your shirt falls down, people see the sign, and it opens up conversations. That is so beautiful. You spoke about this girl in Starbucks who'd seen the sign when you were going to pay for your coffee, whatever it was, and she commented, and there was that connection right away. And I believe she had a similar sign on her earlobe. It's what's the message here? What opportunities are we being given? What signs are we being shown that we can outreach to other people? And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much, right? Mm-hmm. You spoke about the dis-ease, the disease that makes us sick when we keep things and harbor them inside of us and we don't reach out and sort it out. And guys can be very vulnerable and transparent, but they have difficulty with it. As women, we don't. We relate to everything. We don't miss a trick. We pick everything up. We analyze it. We go over it a million times. But guys, yes, it's very, very hard. And this is why you have this organization. I think I wrote it on another page. Let me just go back to it. Hold on. Just give me a couple of seconds.
In a mug.
There it is.
I need that.
Yeah, you need something, Austin. I'll talk to you about you help entrepreneurial men to help navigate mental health and judgment in a world of toxic male masculinity. And you are God's gift to this world in doing that. And I absolutely salute you. You talked about an experiment. You said to this guy, I'm just going to go over and talk to these 3 women and they'll open up to me. And the first woman told you straight away that she'd got cancer. And this guy couldn't believe that you'd got this woman to open up to you. Buddy, I do the same thing all the time. And everyone responds to me. It's amazing. Sometimes I don't get out of a coffee shop for hours, right? And I love this. Okay. Sharing the load, stepping through fear. Stepping through it and out of it, because fear is not real. Danger is, fear is not. And you gave us the illustration of going up in a plane and jumping out of it. I'm amazed to hear, and I applaud you that you've jumped out of a plane for 200. I think they're going to have to tie me up and push me out with a blindfold.
What you asked for.
So here we go. This is the legacy you leave.
Yeah.
We rob ourselves of an extremely precious, priceless gift of being in the present moment when we stress over the past or the future. The past has happened, it's gone, we cannot affect it, it's got nothing to do with us. The future hasn't even happened. So why waste your energy worrying and thinking and trying to work, stressing over it?
Yes.
And by doing that, we are robbing ourselves of the most precious gift of being in the present moment. So you taught us to slow it down, take everything else out of the picture and bring yourself back to the present moment, because at any time, in any moment in life, that is all we ever have. And that beautifully does my recap.
Awesome. Beautiful job, Mandy.
Thank you
so much. Type in the word present, because that's a great thing. Type that word in if you're in the chat. Playback, just type it in. Put hashtag presence or present, whatever one. Just let's grab that. Gord, love you to stay on, because I'm going to share this poem. I promised everybody this poem from last week, and we're going to do our best to share it. Hopefully, we have a couple minutes to say goodbye. And if everybody wants to get a screenshot, that would be great too. All right, so let me cue this up.
I'm getting it.
Cue this up right now. And we're so glad you were here today. And Mandy, did you disappear on us again? Oh, there we go.
I'm telling you, there's stuff happening here. Even when I was reading the poem, the lights were all flickering. I thought I was going to be gone. Source didn't want me disconnected.
Nope. You're always connected to Source.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to pull us out for a moment, and then we'll bring us back in. Until you jump, you do not know how far you will fall or
how high you will go. It's painful to stay, but it's scary to leave. One thing is sure, you can no longer live in between. Straddling two worlds worked for a while, but now you long for the faith of a child. You consider each scenario with unyielding precision. And lo, there really is only one decision. You step to the ledge with fire and zeal. You reconnect to spirit, and now you feel. Death and life now hang in the balance. Time to muster up all of your talents. All forces come together in your moment. No turning back and no way to relent. You make the leap and overcome your fear. Passion fueled as you embark on a new frontier. Never to return to what you once knew. Faith and courage will now see you through.
All right, we're back.
Wow. Wow.
So I want to thank you for being here today, Gord.
Thank you.
This is the beginning of a new frontier for all of us. And not just for us, but for you, the listener. And all you need to do is embrace it. We just poured our hearts out today, and this is for you. So yes, it's a show, but I want you to take something from this and use it. Take one thing and use it. And I want to tell you, as we close out, we're going to be back on June 26th at 8 p.m. Standard Time. June 26th, it's a Sunday. We're going to do the full 2 hours with the Flashpoint documentary. I'm going to invite Gordon back as a guest, providing his schedule. He has to check his schedule. Mandy's going to be on. We have many special guests lined up to talk about their journeys. We're going to share the Flashpoint documentary again. It's going to be amazing. We want you to show up for that. We want you to share it. I will drop the YouTube link in the chat here right now. I have that queued up. I would do. Yes. So I'm going to drop it for right now. This is the link that I have. So you can click on it and set your reminder. And you may have to subscribe in order to set your reminder, but do that if you need to. And just make a point to be back here Sunday, June 26th at 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
But we will be back next Thursday, too, for next week's show. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
God bless
Thank you.
Hugs,
you. Have a
love,
Hugs.
God bless.
fantastic day.
Bye.